"Mom, I've seen that name before," the little boy quietly said near an old gas station on the outskirts of Phoenix, Arizona, staring at the worn military patch in the woman's hands as she woke up in the back seat of her old Ford Explorer. Sarah Mitchell suddenly sat up and quickly hid the patch inside her jacket, thinking the child was simply curious about military things. But the boy kept staring at her with a strange mix of fear and respect. His name was Noah. He couldn't have been older than 10, and he stood in the cold morning wind holding a cup of hot chocolate while his mother paid for gas inside the store. Sarah looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, trembling hands, and an old military jacket she had worn almost every day since Afghanistan. Years ago, Sergeant Sarah Mitchell had been a national hero, the woman who pulled 3 wounded Marines from a burning Humvee near an ambush near Kandahar while bullets tore through the air around her. Back then, her face was all over American television, but after returning home, her life slowly collapsed. Her husband couldn't handle her constant nightmares and screaming at night. The bank took their house because of debt, and treatment for PTSD cost more than she could afford. For almost a year, Sarah had been living inside her car near an old car wash, working night shifts at an Amazon warehouse, and trying to sleep during the day in parking lots or near gas stations. She had stopped calling her old military friends long ago because she didn't want anyone to see her like this. But then, Noah quietly said, "You saved soldiers. I remember the video." And in that moment, Sarah felt her chest tighten. She didn't answer, only turned away to hide the tears in her eyes. The boy slowly walked back toward his father's black pickup truck, but before leaving, he looked back at her one more time as if he had just met someone from a legend he had heard about for years. Only 20 minutes later, cars suddenly began pulling into the gas station parking lot. At first, Sarah thought someone had called the police to force her to leave again, just like it happened many times before. But instead, a tall man with gray hair stepped out of a black pickup truck holding an old yellowed newspaper in his shaking hands. He slowly walked toward her and showed her the front page. It was a photograph of a young Sarah in military uniform standing beside a medevac helicopter covered in dust and blood. "My name is Michael Reeves," the man said with a trembling voice. "You saved my brother Daniel in Afghanistan." Sarah froze because she remembered that name immediately. Corporal Daniel Reeves had been one of the Marines she dragged out of the burning armored vehicle during the ambush. Back then, she thought he would die before they even reached the base. Michael explained that Noah had recognized her name because a few weeks earlier he had watched an old YouTube report about that military operation, a video their family still kept saved. But the biggest shock came moments later. Half an hour later, another vehicle pulled into the station, and a man slowly stepped out leaning on a cane. It was Daniel Reeves himself. Sarah could hardly believe her eyes. He still walked with a limp from his injuries, but he was alive. The moment he saw her, he walked forward without saying a word and hugged her tightly in the middle of the parking lot. For the first time in years, Sarah couldn't stop herself from crying. People around them began recording the moment on their phones, and someone uploaded the video to Facebook with the caption, "America forgot its hero." By evening, the video had already reached hundreds of thousands of views. The next morning, veterans from all across Phoenix started coming to see Sarah, bringing food, clothes, and money, while one auto shop owner repaired her SUV for free. But the thing that affected her the most was when Daniel handed her a set of keys to a small house nearby and quietly said, "You saved my life back then. Now let us save yours." And for the first time in a very long time, Sarah finally felt like she was no longer alone.